911, what's the emergency?
There's been a massive landslide on Highway 530.
There is a house on 530 and a big slide, and it is covering the road.
It sounded like an earthquake was happening, and there's hundreds of trees everywhere.
There's like a mudslide and everything's gone. The houses are gone. There's people yelling for help. Oh my gosh.
My neighbor's house and their neighbor's house has been completely taken out. It's collapsed on several of them, and they're trapped.
We have people that are yelling for our help, and we are going to take extreme risks to try to get them out of there tonight.
Emergency managers in Snohomish County still trying to reach people trapped by that massive landslide. The wall of mud and debris killed 3 people and injured at least 8 others. And people who live along the North Fork of the Stillaguamish River are being told to evacuate. The slide covers Highway 530 near Oso and has clogged up the river. And there are concerns now about what happens next. We have team coverage tonight. We will start with King 5's Heather Graff live at the Arlington.
That's Palo Falco, moments after a massive wall of mud and debris came crashing down onto State Route 530 and right in front of his car.
I was coming down the hill, and we just saw that thing coming. Like, the best thing to describe is a darkness.
And while it is still far too dangerous to go beyond the roadblocks now set up in Snohomish County, Palo's muddy shoes and his still shaky voice.
I feel lucky. I feel lucky.
Give us a glimpse into the devastation this landslide left behind.
Oh my gosh, look at that, guys. Look at this.
Part of this tightly knit community has been lost.
Rescue crews and volunteers work round the clock searching the muddy debris field for victims.
If you stop long enough, you'll start to lose it.
Coming together in the hopes of a miracle.
Volunteer firefighters like Jeff McClellan have been working around the clock, along with a crew of others, trudging through mud, debris, and wreckage to fulfill a grim task.
Some of these are our friends. Some are, family of some of our people that serve for us. And, close firefighter friend of ours lost his wife and his granddaughter. That's tough.
Reinforcements have arrived to the town of Darrington.
Okay, Squad 2 leader to East 3 rescue.
Local, state, federal agencies are working as one in the aftermath of a deadly landslide.
The plan is to kind of intensify the search area.
But with extra hands and feet in town, access to the hardest hit zones are harder to come by.
Because not everybody's allowed access in here. We're in here right now because we live here and we were able to get in. Photos and a Bible, starting Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, as we come across mementos and things of personal nature, we're putting them in, we're picking them up and collecting them.
So like the rescuers, they too can bring closure.
I think the ultimate goal is to, rescue, recover the neighborhood.
There is a void at this Marysville dentist office.
Her desk is empty, yeah. It's a constant reminder.
An empty chair and an unending heartache that no amount of flowers, condolences, or kind words can heal.
She's just a wonderful person, caring, giving, loving.
Christina Jeffords worked as the office manager here for more than 20 years. She was babysitting her 4-month-old granddaughter, Sanoa, on Saturday morning when the landslide came down on their Steelhead drive home. But the search for Chris, as those in Dr. Peterson's office often called her, came to an end sometime Sunday.
When you're in this business, you know that from time to time there will be occasions where authorities come by and ask for records.
Their fears confirmed.
To identify somebody, but you don't think it's going to be one of your own.
I wanted you to take a look at this perspective of the slide. The before picture on the left shows the Stillaguamish River and Highway 530. After the slide, the massive amount of mud and debris 1.5 miles wide cuts off the river and the highway.
The slide is massive, 4,400 feet wide, 4,400 feet long, 30 to 40 feet deep. State geologist Dave Norman just flew over the slide.
This is one of the biggest landslides I've seen.
And here's a demonstration of exactly what happened. You have a foundation layer of either bedrock or very compressed clay. On top of that, this loose mix of sand and glacial rock. Add water like we had this past month, and it lubricates it, and it slides.
And he says the people in his neighborhood were never warned that a slide could cross the Stillaguamish River in his backyard and hit homes.
I have no record of or recollection of any conversation, any letter, any presentation. Zero, zip, nada.
After this 2006 landslide near the neighborhood, Snohomish County did take steps to warn residents. The King 5 investigators found the county drafted this notice in 2007. The Hazard Area Disclosure Notice warned that the area is at risk of potentially life-threatening destructive mud, water, and debris flows. But records show the notice was only issued once to one homeowner on Steelhead Drive.
What I think is that, there's a failing of the system here somewhere.
Why, they ask.
I really can't believe that it's happened.
Why their town suffering such a staggering loss of life? Now a staging area for searchers and the focus of international attention. A question a preacher might be asked at the only church on a 29-mile stretch of Highway 530.
It is a truly difficult question. I don't know that anyone really has the answer.
Pastor Gary Ray knows from here on, the 80 members of Oso Community Chapel will be doing their best ministry outside the sanctuary.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me give you a $100 gas card. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Here's a $100 gift card for food.
Oh, wow.
On top of that, okay?
Thanks. I don't know how to say thank you to all the help that we've had in this community.
And write gas cards on the check. Now, I want to show you something. These are the donations that came in one day. The total, $56,890.
We needed to do something.
You're going through it too.
Yeah. Well, I'm an EMT, first responder. So, knowing that there's a firefighter that his family's missing, sorry. Okay. Knowing that we had to do something.
There were tears.
Thank you.
Now I want your t-shirt. But this caring seemed to make everyone feel better. You can make donations to the Oso Landslide Relief Fund online or at any U.S. Bank branch. Just visit king5.com for more details. So far, your generosity has raised more than $553,000 for Oso.
Your parents aren't going to be running the prom? Because I am.
A plan was hatched. Bring Darrington the prom of a lifetime, and the timeless Darrington gym would be transformed from hardwood to Hollywood.
Big night. Pretty nice deal for the kids.
Oh, yeah! When you first walked in, what went through your mind?
Like, this isn't our gym. This isn't it. I don't know where I am.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Well, believe it. And the kids owned it.
What is emergency?
My pager went off for what was reported as a roof of a barn and flooding in the road on State Route 530.
You know his face and you know his name because Travis Hotz had the unenviable task.
Today's operation is going to involve aircraft.
Of telling his community what no one wanted to hear.
We didn't see or hear any signs of life out there today.
He was the initial incident commander and the voice of this tragedy.
Because the mud was so thick.
Who updated the media and the public every single day as the death toll climbed to 43 and the rescues turned to recoveries.
I would have rather been out there digging every single day than been a spokesperson, but when you agree to put a gold badge on and wear a white shirt in this business as a fire chief, you agree to let the firefighters and the company officers go out and handle those tasks.
I picked up a book, and I could see it was a kid's book. And I opened the book, and it said, 3 Orphan Kitties was the title. And underneath it said, "The world is a beautiful place." And I just burst into tears.
You have to be out here with them no matter what. You got to get out here and find them. I don't like knowing that they're up there still missing.
I text them every hour. I call and just tell them we're looking for you.
We can't lose hope. That's not what we're here for. We're here to find those people.
If we have looked in your eyes, if you have walked past us, if you have smiled at us, if you have held our hand, if you've given us a hug, if you have somehow thought about us.
Well, we appreciate people like you.
We thank you.
We're breaking in because we have a developing situation at Marysville-Pilchuck High School right now.
Police are responding to the high school, a possible shooting. Let's get right to Jim Foreman.
Well, we know that there is a massive response to the high school. Let's switch now to Sky King, just arriving on the scene. We can tell you that there are reports that there is an active shooter involved.
There you go, more students running in a single file line, escaping from classrooms or wherever those buildings are. This is a sprawling campus, as Jim mentioned. We're talking about 2,500 kids at Marysville-Pilchuck.
Sanford Torres, you have a son in school. What was he able to tell you? And he was in the cafeteria. What was he able to tell you about what happened?
He told me that he was 40 feet away from the actual shooting and that like 6 kids were injured.
And you've been able to contact him. How's he doing?
He is scared. He is very scared, and he's still inside the school.
We are confirming one person that is deceased and that person is believed to be the shooter.
I just got done eating my food, and he was quiet. He was just sitting there. Everyone was talking. All of a sudden, I see him stand up, pull something out of his pocket, and at first I thought it was just someone making a really loud noise with like a bag, like a big loud pop, until I heard 4 more after that. And I saw 3 kids just fall from the table, like they were falling to the ground dead. I jumped under the table as fast as I could, and when it stopped, I looked back up, and I saw he was trying to reload his gun, and when that happened, I just ran in the opposite direction, and I was out of there as fast as I could.
You know,
and that's it.
I have to be honest with you. Just listening to your description, I'm just getting choked up. You sound incredibly calm, considering what you just witnessed.
The way I handle things, I guess.
We've been hearing from parents here on the street corner. They've been texting with their kids. There are still a lot of kids apparently holed up inside of the school. In groups about, 12 to 24 to 36, they've been walked out of the school, across the athletic field. We've been watching these school buses pull up periodically. The kids get on. It's very hard to sort of describe to you what their faces look like. They're all very serious. There are adults on the bus with them who are apparently acting as escorts. We've seen a lot of adults with tears in their eyes.
How did you hear?
He texted me when that happened. He was looking for me, paranoid, scared.
We haven't heard anything yet. Nothing. Everybody's calling and we just don't know. Thanks.
The lone gunman and either a student or a staff member were killed at the school.
So this is a live picture at Schulte's Community Church. I'm just not going to talk for a while. Let's just look at this. As you can see, it's just, shock. It's starting to set in. Tearful students being reunited with their parents on probably what will be the worst day of their lives.
Once I saw them, I think it was this massive sigh of relief, but very hard waiting. Waiting is the hardest part, they always say, but you know, I'm very glad that I got to hug them and see them and make sure that they were okay.
What I'm hearing exactly is that the shooter, whose name is Jalen Freiberg, a freshman at that school, that Jalen was very calm. We have some video to show you right now. This is of Jalen just 1 week ago in the homecoming court. So obviously this is homecoming time of year. All of the high schools have a big football game for it, and they elect a homecoming king and a prince and all that. And there is Jalen, the shooter, being honored at the football game. He's a football player, as in the homecoming court. And usually, you know, those are decided by the kids. So that tells you, yes, in fact, he was popular, he was respected. He comes from a very well-respected family, member of the Tulalip tribe, and they have members of his family have been in leadership positions with the tribe, have been very well known in the fishing industry.
They are bringing a male patient from Providence and Everett to Harborview. This is the Harborview landing zone right now.
And this is a live picture.
This is a live picture. Dr. Roberts did say that they were able to stabilize this patient enough so that he could be transported to Harborview.
And I heard boom, 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 boom. And everyone started freaking out and ran, and I ran too.
Now at 6:30, a deadly shooting inside Marysville-Pilchuck High School.
We just want to hold our daughter.
Yeah.
A student opens fire inside the cafeteria, shooting several of his peers before turning the gun on himself.
It'll take a long time for our community to heal from this.
Now investigators are trying to learn more about the young man as the community comes together to support the students and remember those who were killed.
The shooting happened just after 10:30 this morning at Marysville-Pilchuck High School. The large campus is located just north of the town of Marysville.
We have live team coverage of the story tonight. Our crews are at the hospitals where the injured are being treated, the church where the families were reunited.
These are scenes from this morning as police, weapons drawn, go into Marysville-Pilchuck High School. These days, they're armed with more than courage and a gun. They're armed with information. It was in the months following Columbine that police tactics in schools would change, and one of the early adopters was Snohomish County. We brought you this story a month after Columbine, as patrol car computers were about to be equipped with maps of high schools and individual photographs of rooms and hallways to give responding officers as much awareness of the school's layout as possible before going in.
The fence here in front of the high school continues to be a place where people are honoring and remembering the 5 victims of this shooting, and that was expected. What people did not see coming were signs like this one over here. It says, "Rest in peace, Jalen," and this is one of many signs you'll see all along this fence in memory of the shooter. Every day, even every hour.
Maybe it's a release, I don't know.
The show of support outside Marysville-Pilchuck High School gets a little bit bigger.
Doesn't matter if you're a student, doesn't matter if you're a staff member.
And while the sheer size of this chain link display was the first thing that drew the eye of Linda Craig and her daughter,
It's amazing how much stuff there is.
the second was this sign in support of the shooter.
They were all friends, I understand. He seemed like a good kid, but I was a little taken back that his name was up here.
Even experts who study school shootings have said it's a bit unusual. Jalen Freiberg memorialized side by side with the names of his victims.
Yeah, this is Jalen right here.
But those experts, people like Deborah Price, will tell you, don't know Marysville.
Well, any kid in this world that gets hurt, you know? Sorry.
Tonight, a conversation with teens and parents.
Tough times. Teens and parents. A King 5 HealthLink Town Hall.
Does that make you think that it could happen to anybody?
Yeah.
That anybody maybe could do?
It could happen anytime, from anyone, even your closest friends.
A week out, are you guys thinking of them? Are you feeling mad about what happened? Sad? Fearful? What are some of the emotions you're feeling right now, a week later? Zoe?
Okay, well, for only being in high school for not even 2 months, oh God,
it's okay.
It's really hard.
Being in high school? Has it ruined high school for you? the first year? This was a tough day for a lot of these students returning back to class, and it was made a little bit easier by this community's incredible show of support and of love.
Students solemnly making their way back to school and hundreds of people standing shoulder to shoulder to support them.
You know, just hoping that these kids can get some innocence back again.
The road leading to Marysville Pilchuck High lined with nothing but love for these students. 4 moms standing side by side with their hearts in their hands.
We love you, Tomahawks!
10 days ago, they were reminded
Want some caffeine?
just how lucky they are to be here together.
It was hard to hear her talk about it. We're so grateful. I mean, she was okay, but just not knowing what all was going to come after that. You know.
15-year-old Jordan, a sophomore, was there that day in the cafeteria and is still processing all that she saw.
It's gotten better over the week. My friends are really helpful in being distractions, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not gone or forgotten.
They're taking this sometimes scary path after the shooting 1 hour at a time.
More love.
Some good, some not so good.
Okay, I'm not crying.
Yes, you are crying.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Sending their daughter back to school where it all happened won't be easy.
Today's a little bit different. Oh yeah. Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that we were all home at the same time with the kids and get them out the door.
Okay, here we go, Monday morning.
They say as emotional as this day might be,
I've never actually been stopped on the roundabout before. We might all be a little bit nervous about today.
they just want to get back to what you might call normal life,
Love you. Okay. Text me a lot.
even though so much has changed.
Trying to hold it together. Trusting again. You know.
Ted Land,
She's still my baby.
King 5 News.
Still my baby.
For the first time, we're hearing from the mother of Zoe Galasso, one of the 4 students killed in the Marysville Pilchuck school shooting.
I look at it all the time. It's where I gather all my strength. It's where I get all my strength from.
For the last 2 weeks, Michelle Galasso started her day with a message.
What does that message say?
It says, happy birthday to my mom, my other half, best friend.
Her daughter Zoe sent it to her a few months ago.
I look up to you. You're the strongest person I know, and I wouldn't be who I am without you in my life.
This is the message Michelle prefers to read.
Yes, this is all I have.
Considering the last message she sent Zoe.
At 11:40 on Friday, are you okay?
She never heard back.
Okay, so here's all the names. There's Shaylee. There's Andrew Freiberg.
There's Zoe Glasso.
Being around her made you want to just be happy. She had a laugh that was contagious. She was beautiful inside and out.
Zoe was Michelle's best friend.
She was
her baby.
The most giving, the most wonderful, just the most wonderful person.
TV responding to a shooting.
Zoe died in the cafeteria alongside the shooter, Jalen Freiberg.
You knew Jalen?
Yeah.
You watched him grow up?
I know that family. I love that family.
Could you ever forgive Jalen for what he did?
I have to. I have to forgive him. In order for me to move on, I have to. I'll never know why he did it. And he took away one of the best things that I ever brought into this world. He did. But he's a child too. And in order for me to heal from this, I have to forgive him, because I cannot waste my life hating or being angry. I just can't.
You've spoken with Jalen's parents since this incident.
Yes.
How did that conversation go?
I hugged his mom. I told her I loved her. She's hurting. She's grieving. She lost her child as well.
There are so many flowers here. It's so beautiful. Oh, look at this one.
The pain of this tragedy can be seen and heard all over Marysville.
We are one school, one family. Stay strong and stay together. Just praying for Marysville Pilchuck High School.
when you see that face? What do you think of?
I just love it. I just love to look at it. I can't get enough of looking at her.
Michelle knows if Zoe could send her a message today, it would look something like this.
I hope your day is just as great as you.
So for now, she'll hang on to the good times and forgive the bad.
Yeah, she's always smiling.
Just like Zoe would want.
Zoe and I had more than just a mother-daughter relationship. We were best friends.
It was a raging inferno.
Wildfires rip across Washington state.
You could hear the whistle of the wind.
300 square miles burned, dozens of homes destroyed.
It's devastating.
An entire town reduced to rubble. But among the ashes, people cling to what they haven't lost.
Everybody's safe, yeah.
And here is the very latest on the biggest wildfires burning in our state. The Chewacam Creek fire burning west of... Team coverage of the firefight tonight for you. King 5's Heather Graff is live in Winthrop with a family trying to save their heirlooms. And King 5's Ted Land is in Malott, where at least one home on the hillside just outside of town has been destroyed. Take a look at this new video. The fire is raging and is very close to homes as the highest evacuation notice remains in place. Firefighters are setting back fires.
I want to step out of the way so we can show you what we are seeing right now here in Winthrop. You can see the flames just popping up all along that ridge there in the distance, and that is
a level 3 evacuation notice means get out.
I mean, there's fires every year, but not through town.
For some in the community of Malott, that was all the warning they needed to hear as the Carlton Complex fire inched its way down the hillside.
We're just going to grab the quads and the vehicles, the dogs, and my mom grabbed, it's my parents' place, they grabbed some pictures, my dad grabbed his guns, and we're leaving right now and hoping for the best. That's all we can do.
Saturday afternoon in the town of Twisp.
Well, yeah, it's just all over.
The DC-10 air tankers battling this fire put on a performance of their own.
I mean, they're really fast, too. I mean, I heard him call for it, and 10 minutes later, he was here.
I think the priority would be to get the line in first.
Yeah, affirmative. We can work that out together.
This is a fist fight with Mother Nature.
Come in and help reinforce that.
And crews are using more than just their hands.
All resources, how do you copy?
To win the battle.
What we would refer to as a dirty burn.
I wish it wasn't so cloudy and smoky. It's the most beautiful view in the world. And it's gone.
It's tough asking someone what their needs are when they've lost everything.
We're not going to build here again. We'll build down in the flat. So, you know.
And as we were driving out, flames were coming across. Turn back.
These are the faces of the firestorm.
I tried, you guys. I tried to save it.
Tried to save it, but it didn't work.
Everything I own is gone. I don't even have a toothbrush right now, but we're going to go get one.
We're just not going to give up and say, we survived the fire, help yourself, you know, to the goods.
When his neighbors reported criminals rummaging through their destroyed homes, Viralman wrote a note to thieves that looks like this.
Attention, looters and thieves. Welcome to Alpha Lake. You will not get what you want, but you will get what you deserve. Consider this fair warning.
And stay out of Okanagan County. If you come here bent on evil, there'll be a healthy dose of justice for you.
After ranch hand Jake O'Reilly expressed those thoughts early this afternoon, he then reached into his pocket, pulled out a .44 mag, and reiterated his point.
Don't come to Okanagan County with criminal intent.
I'll never forget that roaring sound. It sounded like a dragon. It was hot.
The disaster forced regular citizens to grab whatever they could.
This was our firefighting tool, one of them. We had 3 of these going.
And turn themselves into instant firefighters. Dagmar and her husband came to the aid of friends and neighbors.
In 2 days, you know, we worked on 7 houses. 6 of the 7 houses are still standing. Very unfortunately, ours isn't.
This is what remained of the Pateros home they moved into just 2 weeks before the fire.
I just feel empty.
The fire scorched 250,000 acres, 300 homes, people who lost everything. We've learned the state has cut only one check to one landowner. This is the invoice for a nearly $2 million payment by the state of Washington that we got through a public records request. It's money that was paid to Gebbers Farms 2 months after the fire. The family-owned, century-old Gebbers fruit orchard is one of the largest in the world. By all accounts, Gebbers fought valiantly to keep the fire off their property. But unlike any other landowner, the state has paid Gebbers back, including $209,000 to Gebbers orchard employees who fought the fire, more than $680,000 for heavy equipment, and $500,000 for 4 helicopters that Gebbers leased.
I would have made payments for the rest of my life just to have a couple dumps of water on our house to save it. We could have saved it, but when it got here, it was way too big for us.
By protecting its 8,000 acres, Gebbers also shielded the town of Brewster right below the orchards. And DNR says the so-called fire control payment was for Gebbers' efforts on behalf of the community.
They were attempting to protect not only their property, but other property as well.
This satellite image from the days after the fire shows the circular red scar of burned vegetation. The green hole in the middle is mostly Gebbers' property. Neighboring land didn't fare so well. We found invoices showing the state was also billed for fire bonuses of up to $2,000 for some Gebbers workers and several $100s in purchases at this Brewster Quickie Mart. Managers at Gebbers Farms did not respond to our repeated requests for an interview.
So everybody should be on equal ground, no matter how big or small they are.
This couple says what really stings is that Gebbers was paid by DNR, whose crews they found staging nearby the day of the fire.
5 engine crews sitting there, and we begged them.
I begged them. I got out and I begged them.
You know, my recollection, I don't remember begging for anything else in my whole life. And they told us no.
We start with breaking news. Violent protests raging tonight in Ferguson, Missouri, and the protest occurred in Seattle 2 hours after that grand jury decision.
We have team coverage tonight. King 5's Jim Foreman is monitoring the tense situation in Ferguson.
But first, let's go to King 5's Alyssa Hahn.
Totally peaceful to just right around 10 o'clock tonight when some of those protesters tried to get on I-5. You can see the wall of police officers that are pretty much lined up right here. All they're doing so far is just using their bikes to block the freeway entrance.
It's about Mike Brown. It's not about me.
We have some video of Macklemore, who was joining the protesters, chanting and walking onto I-5.
And there he is. That was part of the time when the I-5 was shut down about 45 minutes ago. Traffic was brought to a complete halt, and eventually the police were able to get the protesters off the freeway, chase them off, and traffic has since been moving along on I-5 just fine. This is earlier at the ramp near Cherry, where some flashbangs went off.
Exactly. The flashbangs in an attempt to get people to move off and away from the I-5 and the I-5 on-ramp.
Working up to a point, and then this was the confrontation earlier. Some of the protesters high above the freeway throwing the flashbangs and the tear gas, or whatever Seattle police are using at this point in time.
It's been a very peaceful protest so far. The police have cleared the way for these protesters. It is a registered march, by the way, so they know what the planned route is, but they're marching through the streets. They've stopped at some intersections. Sometimes they kneel down with their hands in the air, repeating the anthem that we've heard over and over: hands up, don't shoot, hands up, don't shoot. So they're making their way to the federal courthouse right now, where they will have a rally there. We will keep you posted on their progress. Reporting live in Seattle, Alyssa Hahn, King 5 News.
Alyssa, thank you. So peaceful protest.
They targeted the bigger shopping centers downtown, like the Pacific Place Mall. Try as they might, security guards could not keep the doors closed nor the protesters out. chanting what has become the mantra of the Ferguson decision. Protesters marched in past the holiday decorations and the Black Friday shoppers, taking over the escalators and eventually the 4th floor of the mall, yelling down to the courtyard for all to hear.
Because the cop wasn't even indicted for killing the kid. He's not even getting a trial. So there's no balance to the system.
Pike Place. One of the leaders of the march, Marissa Johnson, explained why here, why today.
America goes where their pocketbook goes. So today we're boycotting Black Friday. We want people to be uncomfortable shopping.
Transit police took a hard line, getting physical to keep protesters from entering the bus tunnel. They also marched through the holiday traffic, blocking intersections, showing little sympathy for drivers late for work.
Can you guys just move for this car, please? Hurry up, get in, they're trying to close us down. Go.
Wherever they went, the spectacle was hard to ignore.
I think it's annoying.
Some shoppers gave a thumbs up to the motives behind the disruption.
No justice, no peace.
Others question how many demonstrators actually read the evidence in the Ferguson case.
I think that they don't look at the real stuff and they have to make their own choices. That's fine.
They hope to leave a black eye on Black Friday, but as they marched away, holiday shoppers picked up where they left off.
Happy holiday. Happy holiday.
25-year-old Red is free to meet us in this park, free to wander, even though the eyes of the law believe they're on him at all times.
It just felt like a joke.
A joke, he says, that was looped around his ankle until he decided to snap it off.
Actually, lo and behold, all it took was a simple push and the device broke. This is the mount.
Red says more than a week after he removed the GPS tracking device placed on his ankle at a local jail.
I'm not a tagged animal.
The law doesn't seem to notice that he's made a home detention jailbreak. Did anybody call to check up on you? Did anybody question whether your equipment was working?
No. Something just clicked in my head that realized, like, why am I playing this game?
Red is not a hardcore criminal, but the state of Washington uses the same type of GPS tracking to keep tabs on its most dangerous and unpredictable ex-cons, about 200 at any given time.
So this is what your field officer, your CCO would see when they go to monitor their offenders.
GPS software tells a community corrections officer, CCO, if the device is giving a good signal and if the offender is where he should be.
The green gives a good indication that everything is okay.
If it's not okay, or if the offender cuts the bracelet off, the dot turns red and the CCO gets an alert detailing the problem.
So when you have a strap violation, that means
Mac Peavy runs the program for the Department of Corrections.
I think the system works really well. We've seen a lot of adherence to the program. We've gained a lot of compliance from offenders. It's increased accountability for offenders.
Where are you trying to go?
Samuel McDonough cut off his GPS bracelet and made the most memorable heist of 2013. His theft of the Victoria Clipper because he wanted to sail to Canada played almost like a comedy, but there are no laughs in McDonough's backstory.
He's gotten worse in his behavior, so that frightens me.
His mother says while on GPS monitoring, he was using meth and carrying a knife he claimed for self-defense.
He sleeps here on the floor, and he had a machete he put under his pillow, so I was getting concerned.
Department of Corrections records show McDonough often let his GPS battery die, and he cut off 4 GPS bracelets during 6 months on the program. Often a few days would pass before DOC realized McDonough was untethered. A high-level corrections official complained, somehow we need to ensure we know about the lost or removed GPS units, in an email written after the Clipper theft.
We're following up on that. I'm not sure where we're at. I know that's a continuing investigation.
After 6 Hanford workers rolled into the ER last March, sick after inhaling unknown vapors, and 20 more were off to a doctor, their employer sent out public statements. The government contractor, Washington River Protection Solutions, or WRPS, said employees reported throat and nasal irritation and headaches, but good news, every worker had been checked out and released to return to work. The Hanford On-Site Medical Center, run by another government contractor, deemed every single patient A-OK to get back on the job.
That
is misleading. We found the situation is far more serious than the feds and its contractors are letting on. All of the employees were not and still are not back to work. And many have symptoms far worse than an irritation.
I felt kind of dizzy, like almost, like I couldn't walk.
It's just like I can't get a good deep breath. It's like a real shallow breath all the time.
Well, the WRPS president, Dave Olson, has assured the workers, your safety is my primary concern as we cope with these events. Not everyone is buying it.
The lack of concern is discouraging to me.
Once out of the hospital, Becky Holland visited that clinic run by the company HPMC. After listing off her symptoms, nosebleeds, intense headaches, sweats, and shaking, what did the HPMC provider do? Handed over a pain reliever, a cough drop, and a clearance to return to work.
I was offended. Almost like, you're making all this up. Here's some Tylenol and a throat lozenge. Now get to work.
And as Steve Ellingson deals with burning lungs and nonstop coughing,
I'm sorry,
using inhalers and narcotics to cope, HPMC gave him an official cleared to work document, but he hasn't gotten much more from his company or the federal government.
Has anyone from the federal government called and asked, how are you doing, Steve?
No one. None.
Kaepernick, end zone, Crabtree, broken up, picked off. This game is over.
The scene live now inside CenturyLink Field. The Seahawks, they are Super Bowl bound.
The mother of Richard Sherman. Mama Sherman, how does this feel?
Oh my God, I'm in a state of shock still. Oh my God. We're going to the Super Bowl. Oh my God. My son, oh my God.
How about that? Never in my life have I seen a crowd with so much energy as we're seeing here tonight. And in fact, they're throwing Skittles at me.
Totally insane, ain't it? That looks like mayhem.
Oh yeah, we stuck to the script.
We're about to get our quest for 6.
We win, they lose.
#1.
We go to the Super Bowl.
I'll straight for San Francisco.
They don't.
We're gonna see Kaepernick go home tonight, baby.
We rub it in.
We're gonna get you.
That's the fun part. We celebrate.
Super Bowl.
That's the best part.
We're seeing the Super Bowl. We're going to New Jersey, baby.
Oh yeah, we stuck to the script.
There's no sweeter moment right now. It's the best feeling in the world.
Featuring a starved community that wanted nothing more, expected nothing less, hungry for this day.
Oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world.
For this moment.
Never been happier.
It means so much.
Knowing there would be one more day. That's what it says in the script. One more game to prove to everyone else what we already know. We're the best, right? Yes. Credit the team.
Came a long way. Long way.
But also give credit to the 12th man, of course. You and you and you and you. All of you. We did it. Together we did it.
Seattle all day. #1, baby.
To be where I am today, it's a testament to all the hard work. It's a testament to my teammates.
It's media day for the Super Bowl. Players and coaches talking openly to journalists from around the world.
My fans love me regardless. They love the Seahawks. They ain't worried about what I got to say.
I regretted that, and I regretted taking that attention away.
Super Bowl Boulevard between 34th and 47th. Once again tonight, we have several crews there covering all the action.
Let's begin with Drew Mickelson for more from Super Bowl Boulevard.
And it was here at the 2011 NFL Draft.
Here comes the
when this town did its best
intercepted by Richard Sherman
to crush the spirit of Richard Sherman.
Touchdown, Stanford! Richard Sherman!
Tough day.
Kevin Sherman.
Tough 2 days.
Richard's father.
Frustrating tough 2 days.
Sherman wasn't invited to the event. He was the 154th pick.
They are leaving.
A 5th rounder.
The Coliseum in droves.
A singular and stinging disappointment.
He carries a lot of different chips with him, and they all just sit up on top of his shoulder and push him and drives him and drives him and drives him.
Sherman's chips are not carried in anger, but they've been created over a lifetime.
The chip came from when he was about 3.5 years old.
Beverly Sherman says her son was denied a spot on the T-ball team.
When the lady in the pink hat, Miss Dorothy Dawson, told him that he was not old enough to play, that's where the chip began. My son was livid. Livid.
It touched every corner of this country.
But of course, it didn't used to be like this here.
This is something you have to come see it.
Stephanie Van Wyk came from Yakima.
It's part of New York. It's part of history. It's part of America.
Seahawk fans put their Super Bowl celebrations on hold to visit the names and empty spaces at the 9/11 Memorial.
This is where Hawks fans come when they want to go to a game here in New York City.
Oh, that's awesome. The 12th man in the Big Apple. Thank you, Joyce.
Yeah, I think so.
These guys?
Yeah, I think there was really loud people in the stadium.
Are those guys? Without all that screaming.
Yeah, we are kind of quiet right now.
Oh, yeah. That's all right.
I don't want to hurt your ears.
Without all that makeup.
The Seahawk beak going
Seahawk
across.
beak going across.
But with a story to tell.
I was like shaking like this. I was so nervous.
Like no other Seahawks fan.
We had 211 people on the middle of the football field.
That's Jeff and Dee Dee in the most important day of their lives.
The only wedding ever on the 50-yard line.
September 20th, 1998. Kingdom. Before the game.
Redskins. And we won.
That's when everyone began calling them
Mr. and Mrs. Seahawk. I ventured into the belly of the beast mode.
Omaha! Omaha! Broncos orange, a little love. Thank you, my brothers. A little love for the Broncos. What do you mean now? People of Seattle, I implore you, repent and root for the Broncos. It's not too late. Let's go, Broncos!
Super Bowl champs for the first time, and the 12th man goes nuts as the Seattle Seahawks earn the Lombardi Trophy. Can you believe it?
That's
great.
That's how we celebrate down here. And let's go now to Abby Gibb in Pioneer Square, where there are so many Hawks fans down there. Abby.
I can barely hear you, but it is absolutely incredible down here. It's insane. It's insane. Look.
What happens when a dream comes true?
Seattle's gonna go crazy when we get back. I know they're partying right now. Oh, no, Broncos!
When an entire city feels the same thing. At the same time. For the first time.
Everyone who cares so much. It's so great.
People want to be around other people. And find their identity together.
Party in the streets for the Seahawks. Celebrate.
On Capitol Hill, the bars quickly emptied. And in Pioneer Square. And in the U District.
Everything, man. We freaking burn a couch and we celebrate.
This is what happens when a dream comes true on Greek Row.
There were fireworks going off. People were screaming. It was just madness.
Because the Hawks won the Super Bowl, baby. Why else?
Back in Pioneer Square, the celebration also took a turn.
Go off like it's like a bomb or something.
As Super Bowl night became the morning after.
And all of a sudden, they'll just blow up.
Move back! Move back! Things are escalating quickly.
When a city does something for the first time.
Can I put my cue on? Can I put my cue on?
Things will go wrong. People can get overwhelmed. This is what can happen when a city feels so much.
I think Seattle should represent itself a little bit better, but I've been waiting for this for 26 years.
Marshawn Lynch, Richard Sherman, Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, all of them are my favorite.
It's the Seahawks celebration of epic proportions. Hear the Hawks at a Super Bowl victory rally.
Our plan is to hopefully win another one for you next year. Go Hawks.
And Seahawks team owner Paul Allen is loving the win.
It takes a while for the reality to set in, but you are literally just about floating on air
afterwards. And I'm still not floating, maybe a little bit off the ground today, too.
Jesse Jones on 4th and Denny for one of the most remarkable days in anyone's life in Seattle.
Hey, buddy.
This is the moment of a lifetime.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's no mediocre fans here.
Ready? See! See! See!
Oh, Jesse, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
This is awesome, man. This is great. Tuckman is out. Beast mode. Tuckman is out. The 4th man is loud and proud.
So awesome. You didn't see us.
This is unbelievable.
Let's go get Pete. Pete! Pete!
I can't even describe the all-encompassing support and love and spirit of everybody. It's amazing. It's an amazing day.
I'm a kid in a candy store, man.
Hey, this is what we do. Hey, we bring everybody out. We bring everybody out.
Hey, bro, the mic broke. Hey, we here. Oh, man, the mic broke, but we here, baby. LOB win the bill.
Amazing. Couldn't be no better from the fans.
And there's the Lombardi Trophy. Now that is a history lesson. Seahawks win. That's the way we do it. Back to you.
It's definitely gotten worse over the last month. It's noticeably worse.
Okay, ready?
And so husband and wife are here not just to eat, but to make audio recordings of the items Virgil most often orders off the menu at Duke's.
Calamari.
Speaking as clearly as he possibly can.
Crab pig.
It's a process called voice banking.
What have you done so far?
That they learned at Virginia Mason Medical Center.
Let's try another one.
Something speech pathologist Roberta Kelly has been encouraging Virgil to do
That's pretty good.
ever since doctors diagnosed him.
They ran a bunch of tests and they said, we think you got ALS.
ALS.
So,
Often referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Tough.
yeah.
And at the top of the list,
Okay.
I love you.
3 words Virgil wants his wife to hear.
Great.
Forever.
I love you. Yeah.
Sounds good.
From Heather Wolf's vantage point, she could see the teenager perched high above.
By cutting down these 800+ trees to build a mall where the money will all be funneled away from our own community.
There's a girl in the tree.
We're done with mall sprawl.
Having a great time in this tree, it's also tiring and exhausting.
It's taken 10 years
We're lucky he's still here.
to get here.
Yeah. It's very touch and go. Yeah, we're lucky he's here.
Right on. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, he was about this size when he learned. When he was 4, he skied with no poles, so he come really fast.
Kenny's got good neck movement, so he's really capable of steering the ski.
See him sitting down? There he is.
To be back up on the hill. It's like I was right back there 10 years ago.
Wow, look at that. Look at Uncle. Woohoo!
Look at him now.
I can see it. Yeah, he's skiing. Look at that, for real.
It was really smooth. It was, you know, the snow feels good. Yeah, just like I remembered it.
Very energetic, lots of singing.
Happy Valentine's Day to you. Sing it.
A holiday dedicated to love.
How you doing?
That, truth be told, is Juan's
Happy Valentine's Day.
second favorite special occasion.
It's 200 feet tall.
That happens to fall on February the 14th.
It's Ferris wheel day today, yeah.
Ferris wheel day, because it marks the moment when the ride's inventor was born.
The original guy, you know?
More than 150 years ago.
Are you guys deeply in love?
I've been with you for 4 years, and I know that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?
You're so cute, yes.
And so it seems Valentine's Day and Ferris wheel day are the perfect match.
You're so cute. Here.
Sunset. That usually brings people out.
Chris Daniels in Sochi tonight with the rest of the story. Chris.
Gene Selski is now a 2-time Olympian who originally did not have Sochi in mind until he found some musical inspiration. In the world of short track speed skating, J.R. Selski was on the top. He won 2 bronze medals in Vancouver. The hours of work and hours of ice time took a toll.
I just wasn't able to handle it. You know, once the Olympics were over, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? You know, I just didn't want anything to do with skating.
Selski says he turned to music to provide inspiration through it all. And then, little-known artist just picking up steam.
I was on my Twitter account just blasting, you know, music and what I was into, and I was saying, you know, listen to this, listen to this, listen to Macklemore, listen to Blue Scholars, and
10,000.
The Twitter affection was the beginning of a friendship few have seen. Selski took to the road with Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, producing a documentary which debuted last year at SIFF. And the two made an appearance together at Children's Hospital in Seattle in 2010. This never-before-seen footage of the skater and the star trying to deliver a message.
I'm getting out of my rehabilitation center, and it's about drug addiction.
Telling kids about both their struggles, Selski overcoming a serious injury to win medals, Macklemore, a.k.a. Ben Haggerty, overcoming substance abuse.
Ebola. We all have questions and concerns. How safe for hospitals, airports, and schools? At King 5, we promise you facts, not fear. Join the conversation for the truth about Ebola.
All day today.
One of the questions that's come up this afternoon that seems to be trending is the travel ban in Africa. So I'm going to talk to Dr. Ann Kimball, who's an infectious disease specialist and a professor emerita from the University of Washington. Dr. Kimball, if I can interrupt your web work here, what do we mean when we talk about a travel ban? Are we talking...
We got hundreds of questions from you on Facebook. We're looking them up here this morning, and we want to just turn to you right off the bat with a couple of these. One, Rachel Harris on Facebook asks, how long and in what conditions can the virus live outside the body? That's a very good question.
Yeah, it is. And the answer is we don't really know. 14 years ago, King 5 launched a campaign that is now the largest one-day food drive in the state of Washington.
Not only have we sold over 114,000 hunger bags inside our stores, we also have a $90,000 check to present to Northwest Harvest.
90,000 meals in this check for $20,000.
Wow!
Stay warm and dry today, Santa. Thank you so much. The Cascade Renegade Riders right here. These guys come out every year and they rock it out here in Kenmore. Thank you, Santa. I appreciate that.
And you could not turn down the opportunity to ride on a Harley, I suppose.
No, absolutely not.
Hey, we got to introduce everybody to these girls back here. This is the Galaxy girls soccer team. Look at what they have done. For the past few weeks, they have collected enough donations.
All right, well, it sounds like things are rocking up in Kenmore this morning. We need it to be rocking here at the U.S. Phone Bank, and we want to take your calls for donations. So please, all the phones are ringing now. Call 855-HARVEST-5. That's 855.
Tonight on Evening Magazine.
In Renton, Washington, this is Team Evening. We are ready for some playoff football.
We will introduce you to the toddler whose real name is 12th Man.
And we're going to meet the first Seahawks coach ever, Jack Patera. What is he up to these days?
The surprising life story of Seattle's biggest sports fan.
And the three men who make 3 points happen for the Hawks. The fastest 2 seconds of football, the inside scoop.
We are at Renton City Hall tonight with the 12th Man.
It's do or die for babies in crisis.
Jennifer hugged her and kissed her.
Their last hope is science fiction come true.
We don't want kids to die.
From 3D printed hearts.
Oh, this is definitely helping.
To babies breathing liquid ventilation.
She's our fighter miracle.
Witness how doctors are pushing limits and saving lives. Welcome. Tonight we're going to take you behind the scenes of Seattle Children's Hospital and right here at Seattle Children's Research Institute and show you medicine like you've never seen before.
It's a new day.
This is New Day Northwest. Now,
here's Margaret Larson.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of New Day Northwest. With the change in marijuana laws in our state, we've encountered so many questions from families about how this is going to work, issues that concern them, questions about possibly lowering the barriers for pot use for children. We decided to explore this issue for the whole hour today and to get answers from the experts in various fields. What did this law entail? What did it change?
Well, at the very basic level, it allowed possession of up to an ounce of marijuana, and that always before was.
The following program is a special presentation of King 5, the home team. It's a party 1 year in the making, and we're celebrating with you. The skies of Seattle are about to light up as we say so long to 2014 and hello to 2015. It's T-Mobile New Year's After Needles.